Welcome back. The Securities and Exchange Commission charging a crypto startup Konanykhin and its top executives with fraud. The agency alleging Konanykhin, quote, exploited thousands of investors with fictitious promises that its tokens, when issued, would be backed by real-world assets, including an international portfolio of valuable real estate holdings. Alleging the real estate assets were worth a mere fraction of what the company claimed. And the majority of the company's sales of rights certificates were illusory. The SEC provided no additional comments on that lawsuit. And joining me right now is the CEO of Konanykhin, Konanykhin. Alex, thanks very much for being here. What is your response to the SEC's charges?
Good morning, Maria. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here on your program. You interviewed President Trump many times, and you know how frequently he was a subject of lawfare attacks. And this lawsuit is a dirty lawfare attack, not just against me, our company, and thousands of our investors, but it's also a deliberate effort to sabotage President's agenda to turn America into the crypto capital of the world. And those efforts are perpetrated by remnants, by holdovers of Gary Gensler, who waged his notorious war against crypto, war on crypto. And those people actually charged us initially with doing airdrop attack. Oh, sorry, airdrop marketing, which is exactly what President Trump coin did early this year.
But Alex, look, you're trying to compare this situation to the attacks on President Trump. I see what you're saying here. That's a completely different story. What is your response to what you're backing up these tokens with in terms of your assets? That's the question that the SEC is asking. All charges listed by the SEC are completely, blatantly false. And they have documents, including appraisals from license appraisal in each and every jurisdiction to confirm that the volume of real estate committed to Konanykhin has exceeded the numbers we shared with the public. Other accusations are also plain ridiculous, and Konanykhin has been the most compliant cryptocurrency in the United States, the only one which chose to be audited for 6 years, public reporting for over 3 years, the company which went through 2 prior exhaustive SEC investigations with flying colors and no violations found. So those efforts to now demonize us, as I said, I see it as a continuous effort to wage war on crypto even after Gary Gensler's departure. And we saw this under Gary Gensler's leadership, but now Paul Atkins is in charge. Are you expecting a different treatment from the SEC under Paul Atkins? Actually, I do. Yeah. I think that, I know that this case was initiated under Gary Gensler, and it's still the same people who are continuing those efforts. I believe that they misled, deceived the commissioners, including the new chairman, into believing that there was a fraud. And the only reason they went with fraud charges in our case is because they were bringing this action after President Trump got elected, after he announced that he would fire Gary Gensler on his inauguration day, after he declared that war on crypto would be over, and it was clear to Gensler's people that a normal policy-based lawsuit would not survive much past the inauguration day. Okay. So you're expecting these charges to go away? I actually really hope that when the administration, including the commissioners, take a closer look at those charges, they would realize that they are not only false, but blatantly false, ridiculous. Tell me about Konanykhin and where you're expecting the company to go. I mean, obviously, people are very pleased with the administration's efforts to deregulate, and we're seeing a real openness on the part of the Trump administration to see growth in the crypto industry. Tell me about Konanykhin. Where is the growth coming from here? You see, you recently had a segment in which you discussed Bitcoin as new gold. And it is, in fact, new gold, because money has been evolving from seashells to gold to paper, plastic, wire transfer, payment apps. But now it's transitioning to crypto. And for many people, crypto is equal to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is antiquated. It's not scalable. It can only process 7 transactions per second, whereas credit card companies process tens of thousands of transactions per second. It's very power hungry and therefore cost prohibitive. We've been trying to launch a made in America, fully transparent, fully compliant alternative to Bitcoin, which would be more modern, more scalable, more energy and cost efficient.
And you've got to do that, but you need the capacity and the wherewithal to do that. Right now, you're facing these SEC charges that are going to eat up much of your money. Isn't that right? So you've got to get out of this before you actually can see growth at the company.
Certainly. I recall that you recently had the CEO of Ripple as your guest.
Yes.
And he recently shared with me that he spent $150 million just on legal fees fighting the SEC. It took him 5 years to overcome that obstacle. In our case, the damages to thousands of our investors has already exceeded, in my estimate, $10 billion, because with $3 billion in real estate commitments, with money we raised in cash and in buy now, pay later deals, if the SEC would not block our plans to go public on New York Stock Exchange and on crypto exchanges, I believe we would have already been a major cryptocurrency company, helping the president to develop a U.S. crypto industry, which, in my opinion, has to be as consequential as Hollywood is in entertainment and Silicon Valley in IT.
Well, by the way, Alex, you've got the federal laws, but then you've also got to adhere to laws on the New York Stock Exchange and in the public exchanges. So you've got those to deal with as well.
Absolutely. And that's why we've spent more than $10 million on compliance, hiring best lawyers, auditors, technical accountants, being as transparent as no cryptocurrency has ever been. On daily basis, I sent a detailed update to my shareholders, informing them of our objectives, challenges, accomplishments, and those hundreds, if not thousands of updates are available for everybody to see.
Unbelievable. Well, we'll be watching this fight. Do you have an estimation in terms of when you would expect these issues to go away?
Well, I must admit it's not the first time I'm going through this experience. I won 5 previous lawsuits against the federal government, and I'm going for 6 out of 6.
Wow.
But unfortunately, the damage to our shareholders has already been inflicted. Now, this law case can be dropped next week, or it can last for years. Obviously, I believe that the way it's clumsily fabricated, it's not going to last long. But I'm not going to be as presumptuous as to provide timing for an ongoing legal matter.
So, Alex, you're saying that the government has sued you 5 times. This is the 6th time?
That's correct, yes.
And why do you think they keep coming after you?
I guess it's a cost of being an innovator. The first time I came to the United States with Russian president to meet the United States president, George Bush Sr.
Was that with Medvedev or Putin?
It was with Yeltsin. It was 1992. Okay. And I was accompanying the president because I ran the largest bank in Russia at that time, which I built from scratch. But such success comes at a high cost. So I was later kidnapped by KGB. It was one of the most publicized stories of that time. And now they are trying to create a $1 trillion cryptocurrency. And obviously, nobody can guarantee that such a mission can be accomplished, let alone without any challenges.
Well, Alex, we'll be watching the story, and you've had the platform to explain the situation, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria.
All right, Alex Konanykhin joining us. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thank you so much.